Tonight on KGW News, inside a bust near the front lines of a Washington wildfire.
Crazy, dude.
What we've learned about 2 firefighters, including one from Oregon, arrested by Border Patrol. Plus, a push to kick ICE out of the Rose City.
The Department of Homeland Security and ICE agents are using it as a home base to terrorize the neighboring area and also the immigrant community here in Portland.
Then, how a standoff in Clark County, where authorities say a man with an AR rifle threatened work crews, was finally resolved. And later,
we're celebrating baseball and the gift of life with the Hillsboro Hawks.
It makes me cry to think that I got this amazing gift.
Thanks for joining us. I'm David Mulco. We want to get right to breaking news, starting in Gresham, where one person has been killed in a crash that's shut down part of Southeast Kane Drive. This is a live look at the scene. It shows the shells of what appear to be 2 vehicles that police say caught fire after that crash. This is in the Powell Valley area. Investigators have not said what caused the crash. In Clackamas, by the way, we're working to get more information on a fire caught on camera via viewer tonight. Set up a large plume of smoke that could be seen all the way from Highway 224. This was called out as a house fire, residential fire on Southeast Amherst Street. Nearly 20 units are at the scene working to bring this under control. Of course, we'll update you when we learn more. Well, now to new developments when it comes to immigration enforcement in the Northwest, including a promise from President Trump's border czar, who today called out the Rose City.
Operations are ramping up across the country, but you can see a ramp up of operations in Chicago, absolutely. You're going to see a ramp up of operations in New York. You're going to see a ramp up of operations continue in LA. And, Portland, Seattle. I mean, all these sanctuary cities that refuse to work with ICE, where we know public safety threats are being released every day into this country, especially those cities, we're going to address that.
Sounds like a promise, right? Portland and the state of Oregon are sanctuary jurisdictions because of laws that limit how local and state authorities can work with immigration officials. Now, both the governor and the mayor have said they stand behind those policies. Meanwhile, some Portlanders don't think that is going far enough, and now they're pressuring their leaders to find a way to close the ICE facility near the South Waterfront. Let's bring in Alma McCarty. And Alma, first things first, can the city even do that?
Yeah, David, well, some of the counselors have actually looked into that, and it's not a simple answer. They can't just kick ICE out, but it's possible they could look into code violations at the facility.
Say it loud and say it clear.
Say it loud and say it clear.
ICE is not welcome here.
Standing outside one building,
Revoke the permit. Revoke the permit.
demonstrators demand the closure of another, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Field Office in South Portland.
The Department of Homeland Security and ICE agents are using it as a home base to terrorize the neighboring area and also the immigrant community here in Portland.
Cass Cano with Portland Contra Las Deportaciones says, as a sanctuary city, leaders here should take action.
ICE's budget is increasing. We know that stuff is just going to get worse, and their taxes are just going to increase. The amount they can do will just increase. And if we don't fight back now, then what will happen to us then?
Demonstrations started late May. The first time I noticed it was getting scary for me anyways was on the 14th of June.
Neighbors living across the street like LaShonda Shavers, who've documented incidents between protesters and agents, say the disruptions, the tear gas and smoke should be grounds for inspectors to step in.
I just don't want them to be, operating without no accountability and boundaries and consequences.
If we allow ICE to continue to operate when they have violated their permits, that means that anything becomes permissible moving forward.
City councilors heard public comment on the topic earlier this summer. City administrators then gave a memo to the mayor laying out possible pathways where ICE could hypothetically be found in violation of codes. Anything from land use to noise and nuisance complaints. But even if an investigation found they were in violation, they'd have to be given the chance to correct it.
Councilor Murillo also wrote that while council does have the power to enact new zoning and land use regulations, it may not be possible to apply those retroactively. We reached out to ICE for comment, but haven't heard back. David?
Yeah, to be continued on so many fronts there. Thanks, Alma. By the way, there's more tonight on the immigration enforcement front because a fight is brewing in Washington after Border Patrol agents arrested 2 firefighters, one from Oregon, who were working on the state's largest wildfire. Bridget Chavez has that story.
Yeah, we got pulled over by ICE.
This video shows Customs and Border Patrol agents moving in on crews working the Bear Gulch fire in the Olympic Peninsula.
Crazy, dude.
King 5 spoke with one of the firefighters who was there. He wants to remain anonymous, but spoke with us over the phone.
We went some place that I never seen, you know, and it was kind of weird because it's just one way, you know. It's one way in, it's one way out.
The firefighter says he and his teammates were stunned to see federal agents.
We got members from the tribe of Umatilla, Cayuse, and Walla Walla. This is crazy, man.
Even more shocked when they lined them up and started taking pictures of their IDs.
Thank you, sir.
He says the 2 men who were arrested are respected crew members. CBP confirmed the 2 men are being held at a facility in Bellingham. The agency says the 2 are in the country illegally, and one of them has a previous order of removal.
Oh yeah, they're good guys. He's been doing this for a long time. He has a lot of experience. Everyone loves him. That kid is just he just goes, and I have a lot of respect for him.
Governor Bob Ferguson says he's deeply concerned and his team is pressing federal agencies for answers. And Senator Patty Murray also criticized the move, calling it immoral and dangerous.
It's just weird, you know, like it's scary. I just want to tell people be safe, man. Like these people are just like doing too much, you know, and yeah, man, I just felt powerless.
Bridget Chavez there. The Bureau of Land Management says the arrest followed a criminal investigation into 2 private Oregon-based contractors who work on wildfires. BLM says it has now ended those contracts. We've reached out to both for comment. Okay, let's talk about the heat now, because tomorrow's forecast has Oregon's biggest school district planning to release all students 2 hours early. Portland Public telling us some classrooms reached unsafe temperatures this afternoon, and some students and staff have also suffered heat-related illnesses. The district says over the weekend, crews will be installing more fans and cooling units, and where they can, adjusting ventilation. The plan is to get back to a normal schedule after the holiday weekend, unless high temperatures force them to reconsider. Let's bring in Matt Zafino. So, Matt, how hot are we expecting it to get tomorrow?
It's not going to get much hotter than it did today, about the same, maybe a degree or 2 difference. The real difference, though, is that the morning lows will be cooler. We finally dropped below 65 degrees this morning for the first time in 6 days, and we'll do that again tomorrow. It's 72 right now. The wind's out of the northwest, and in fact, we're getting a little bit of a surge of cooler air coming in from the coast. Look at the west wind at 13 at McMinnville. They're running 11 degrees cooler than Portland. South winds in Eugene, southwest winds at Salem, all indications that some of that marine air is leaking into the Willamette Valley and will help us have an even cooler morning tomorrow than we did today. Portland area not too much cooler, 1-2 degrees, but more significant cooling at Scappoose, McMinnville, Salem, and Corvallis. So again, we're starting to see that influx of some cooling coming in from the coast. It's fairly shallow, the marine air that's coming our way, but it has improved our air quality. Look at this. We're all in the good category yet again, or once again in the Portland area. So that's one nice improvement there. Smoke from the wildfires getting blown mainly on off to the east right now. The big fire, the Emigrant Fire, the big smoke producer. So cooler tonight. We'll have some low clouds even along the Columbia River, maybe Vancouver and down towards Scappoose. Warm again tomorrow, up around 90, David, but then cooling again over the weekend. But we may not be done with warm weather. More on next week's forecast in a bit. Back to you.
Summer's sticking around, it sounds like. Thanks, Matt. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, a man accused of stealing a Homeland Security vehicle and leading police on a chase has now been sentenced to nearly 22 years in prison. Travis Griglow is behind the wheel of a black SUV you can see in this dash cam video June of last year. The chase ended when the SUV flipped onto its roof. Griglow stole the vehicle earlier in the day, authorities say, as federal agents were serving a search warrant at his home for child pornography. Court documents say he was put in the passenger seat but locked the doors and then jumped into the driver's seat before taking off. A man has been arrested tonight in Washougal after he allegedly threatened a road paving crew with an AR-style rifle. Investigators say he was wearing camouflage and a tactical vest when he told the crew working in the area to leave. That led to a SWAT standoff on Southeast 352nd for much of the afternoon. After about 4 hours, sheriff's deputies took 37-year-old Justin Bryden into custody. He now faces assault charges. No one was hurt. The man accused of stabbing 2 people and getting into a standoff with police that locked down a Northwest Portland neighborhood appeared this afternoon in court. Victor Palmer Regan pleaded not guilty to assault and will stay behind bars. Both victims are expected to survive. Palmer Regan's partner telling us that he was having a mental health crisis. And a Portland woman has been accused of selling tens of thousands of dollars in fake gold. Officers caught 37-year-old Christina Duncan after pretending to set up a buy, they said. They say she scammed at least 6 people and collected more than $40,000. Investigators suspect she may have even more victims. Tonight, we are learning more about the victims of that devastating shooting inside a Minneapolis Catholic school. The 2 children killed were 10-year-old Harbor Moisky and 8-year-old Fletcher Merkel. Fletcher's father with this message.
Please remember Fletcher for the person he was and not the act that ended his life. Give your kids an extra hug and kiss today. We love you, Fletcher. You'll always be with us.
About his life, not how it ended. As for the shooter, police say the 23-year-old left behind hundreds of pages of writing expressing, quote, indiscriminate hate and a, quote, deranged fascination with past mass shooters. The shooter died at the scene from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.